So you're wondering whether or not you should start on the barefoot minimalist shoe trend. Well, this is the video for you. Hey guys, Dr. Michael Tang, physiotherapist. On this channel, I do videos on health and wellness, physiotherapy related content, as well as product reviews. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. And as usual, you can check out the timestamps and the links in the description box below for a table of contents of the entire video. So what's the big deal about these special barefoot shoes, and why are they so different than, say, a normal pair of shoes just like this one? Well, the main idea behind barefoot shoes is kind of as simple as it sounds, and that is to get the wearing shoes experience as close to not wearing any shoes at all, hence barefoot. The shoes are designed to allow your foot and ankle to move as freely as possible, and after a little bit of time, the feet should get a little bit stronger, the balance should get a little bit better, and ultimately that helps with some injury prevention. But does wearing shoes like these actually feel like you're not wearing any shoes? No, absolutely not. It still feels like you're wearing some shoes. So then you might be thinking, well, if that's the case, then why not wear any shoes at all? I mean, isn't that even better? I can get all the benefits without even having to buy anything. And to that, I agree with you. But remember, they are still shoes. So maybe it's raining outside, or maybe you're walking on a trail and it's got all kinds of rocks and splinters, or maybe you just don't want to get your feet dirty. Whatever reason you want to wear shoes, they still function as shoes. Anyways, I have here in one hand a pair of barefoot shoes, and on the other hand, a regular pair of Nikes. So if you check the front, the barefoot shoes are a little bit wider in the toe box area, where it makes it so that my toes aren't going to be so squished together when I'm wearing them. They can all kind of just naturally sit there more in a splayed out position. Comparatively to the Nikes, it's a bit more narrow in the toe box, meaning when my feet goes in, the toes are going to be a little bit more squished in this particular shoe. Now, when the toes are more splayed out, you're able to make a little bit more of the adjustments. The base of support is a little bit wider, which makes it a little bit easier to balance. Now, I also want to point out that wearing a narrow shoe does not inherently mean they will give you feet problems. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of you guys, including myself, that haven't had any feet problems before we knew anything about barefoot shoes. But looking into a little bit more, there is some evidence to suggest that there is a strong correlation between wearing tight, narrow shoes and a greater incidence of bunions. But for those of you who are wondering specifically about bunions, according to the research, barefoot shoes alone do not really help with bunions if you already have them, which kind of makes sense since they are a bone deformity that is already there. It's not like having more space in your shoes is going to correct the orientation of your toes. I mean, that's kind of like saying that if I have some space in between my teeth, now they will automatically straighten themselves out. That's just really not going to happen. You kind of need some braces for that to happen. But anyways, other than a wider toe box, these barefoot shoes are also very flexible. And they also have a zero heel drop, meaning that the rubber sole on the bottom is extremely level and very thin. I mean, just look at it. It's completely flat on the bottom here. So compare that to the Nikes, which obviously have a elevated heel on the bottom here. So now in my own personal experience, when I walk around in barefoot shoes, I've noticed that because the sole is so flat and really thin, the heel is also not very cushioned, making me instinctively walk a little bit lighter on my heels. And that's just kind of because if I don't do that, it really just hurts a lot. An easy experiment you can do is just walk around right now and pay attention to whether or not you are landing on your heels first. Chances are you are probably landing more towards the middle of your foot, and if you are landing on your heel, it's probably very lightly. But that was the most obvious thing to me. I mean, I just couldn't walk in these type of shoes like how I normally walk in shoes like these. I could just kind of slam my heels into the floor and it wouldn't be any problems. Because of that, I just became super aware of how I'm moving around, and it gives me a sense that I'm moving around with purpose. The best way I can describe it is that I feel like I'm just more connected to the ground. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but I found that it mattered for me, especially when I was lifting weights in the gym on leg day. Going barefoot style, whether you wear shoes or not, is better in terms of getting more connected to the ground and getting the foot stronger. But Currently, I lack ankle flexibility and the strength to maintain a strong, stable position in my feet. So although I like them for lifting weights, it's actually hurting me more than helping me. My feet just aren't ready for the full transition to the whole barefoot life, which was made even more painfully obvious when I added weight to the bar. So, it is what it is. My feet are just delicate flowers and they need to be shielded for the time being. Now, when I squat and deadlift, I use Olympic lifting shoes. And these shoes are actually the exact opposite of barefoot shoes here. Since these shoes are very stiff and they have an exaggerated elevated heel. The elevated heel helps with getting deeper in a squat because it artificially shifts your center of mass forward, making you have less of a requirement for very flexible ankles. And also the fact that the shoes are so stiff, it gives me a little bit more stability and support to push off from. So in other words, it kind of hides my weaknesses. Now, another side note is that these type of shoes may not be the best for people currently dealing with some type of Achilles tendinopathy. Because based on how the foot mechanics work, since these shoes are so flat, normal walking is going to require a little bit more dorsiflexion in comparison to a more conventional shoe that have a elevated heel. More dorsiflexion on a already painful Achilles tendon is probably going to irritate it more because it's just going to be more of a loading stretching force on the tendon. These shoes make sense as an intermediate transition, which means that they're good for getting a tendon a bit stronger, assuming that the tendon is ready for it. If it's not, then it's just going to give you more pain. Now, with all that being said, should you get barefoot shoes? I would say that it seems like it's a good idea for the long term, as it would get your foot a little bit stronger, slightly more mobile over time, as well as potentially reduce the risk of feet or ankle problems. However, I don't think it's actually something that's absolutely necessary. For myself, I wear them regularly because I enjoy how they feel on my feet and how my feet have kind of adapted to wearing them over the past couple of months. They just kind of feel a little bit stronger. Now, I have links in the description box for this particular shoe. It's just a Vivobarefoot. But if you're not sure which shoe is the one for you, I also made another review on this shoe comparing it to other popular barefoot shoes. But anyways, that's it for this video. Leave a like on the video if you liked the video. Comment below if you are thinking about making the transition, and consider subscribing to the channel and to make sure that you don't miss out on any more helpful content just like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.